I'm here with a strategy for you guys where you can achieve band 8 plus scores in your IELTS listening. And the take is you don't need to take notes. Basically, what happens is whenever you guys are going to deal with the listening module, what usually happens is you need to, when you do multitasking at the same time, of course, how will the concentration work? So, in order for you, as you all know, that you get 30 seconds to be familiarized with the question, and that's when you have to use it properly without wasting those 30 seconds. Yeah, hi everyone. Welcome back in this another really interesting video for you guys. So, what we are having today, I'm here with a strategy for you guys where you can achieve band 8 plus scores in your IELTS listening. And the take is you don't need to take notes. Now, this is a kind of more for a computer-based edition than a pen paper-based edition. And I know it's going to sound a bit difficult for you, but yes, that's how it's going to work. So let's see how we are going to do it. And let's see how we are going to solve the listening module without taking notes, of course. Now, here, let me help you with it. So basically, the biggest myth that you encounter over here is that students focus more mainly on band 8 and 9 needs to focus a little bit on the active listening, answer prediction, identifying keywords, and following the speaker's idea. But what they usually do at the time of note taking is they keep on writing everything. Okay, so I understand. See, basically, what happens is whenever you guys are going to deal with the listening module, what usually happens is you need to make sure that you read the instructions properly first, and then you guys are going to go for the reading the question. That's going to help you be familiarized with the question and the audio at the same time. And once you're done with that, you need to predict and you have to listen to the audio and answer, right? Now, the fact is, at the time when I say, okay, so now note taking is not a bad strategy at all. It is one of the best strategies that you can ever get for accuracy. But yes, at the time when you're going to deal with it, the myth is I must write everything down to get high score. I get it. You guys are very much, very much aligned to get an accurate answer. But the fact over here is the audio will not wait for you to finish writing. Yes, that is what you need to be a bit careful of. The audios, whatever the audio you will get, the moment you write everything, now again, there are these students who need to write everything down, whatever is going on the audio. That's not how it works. Okay. So first, let's just talk about how to go ahead without taking notes at the same time. And also, let's understand why taking notes can hurt your score. Now, I might sound too contradictory over here, but yeah, that's the truth. Let me help you out over here. So when you write too much, you miss the next answer. Yes. So see, the audio is whatever the audio you deal is unpredictable. Okay. So if it's unpredictable, because of which you don't know which part of the audio might contain your answer. And because of that, you need to listen to each and every minute or meticulous details about the topic that's going on at that particular point of time. So you miss the next answer, you stop listening actively. So when you are in that rush of writing everything down on your pen and paper, that's where you miss everything. That's where you miss the insight of the audio that you actually need to pay attention to. Key IELTS is all about paraphrasing. And if you don't take care of it, you are going to be at a loss. You lose concentration. Yes, you do lose concentration. See, human mind is wired in such a manner that you can concentrate once at a particular point of time. So when you're going to listen, so you can clearly see when you're going to listen at the audio once and then you're writing. So you also have that brain, that energy channeling to the writing part as well, whether you are writing the correct spelling, whether you're using the correct grammar, and so and so and so. When you do multitasking at the same time, of course, how will the concentration work? So, in order for you to let the concentration work at the highest speed, it's very important to focus a little bit on the audio. Not a little bit, I would rather say, but focus, channelize your 98% of conversation to listening and the 2% of conversation for writing. Okay. And yes, do not write everything. If you feel like there's a need of writing, do it. If you don't feel like, just stop writing. See, it's more of like, see, IELTS examination deals with the pressure. It checks you how you're going to react in pressure, how well you are familiar with the language that you can react with the pressure. So, for that reason, it's important for you to understand how well you will be channelizing your energy and how well you will be presenting when you're actually listening to it and how well you will be getting the answers at the same time. Okay. You focus on words instead of meaning. So, yes, that's where you're going wrong. Even though you're taking a lot of note taking skills, you're taking a lot of strategy, process of elimination, you're taking everything into consideration. But the only thing that you're doing wrong is not understanding what exactly the speaker is talking to you about. Many a times it happens that students don't actually look to the question carefully. If I have to give an example, so let's suppose you've got this MCQ question. ठीक है? MCQ में तुम्हें सिर्फ एक particular answer को ढूंढना है. That is, for example, the question says format of the book chosen. Okay, so the format has already been chosen. Okay, you need to figure out which is the format. Is it the hard copy? Is it the ebook? Or is it the soft copy? How exactly, or which format has been already chosen? So you need to focus on the format that they are talking about. Of course, the audios are going to be. But with this, they are also going to give you the way through which you can get yourself to the correct answer. And that's where you have to be a bit careful because many a times they are going to paraphrase the answer. With this, you need to be considerate about some of the words like deciding, planning, considering, considered, planned, decided. Now, these are the words that are going to decide your answer. That's where you need to write your notes. And talking about the other question in fill in the blanks and many other questions, you don't actually need to take notes. Or else, if you want to know how not taking notes can actually work with your entire listening examination, here's let me help you with. So, what band 8 plus students do instead whenever they don't have to take notes? The very first thing, they read the question before recording. Okay, so before the recording starts, as you all know, that you get 30 seconds to be familiarized with the question, and that's when you have to use it properly without wasting those 30 seconds. Those 30 seconds are going to change your perspective towards the question real quick. Because the question that you can see right now, or this that you can see at the time of your examination, seems a bit difficult. And the moment you develop a little bit of familiarity with this, it starts to become easy for you. Because now you not only know what's going on with the question, you already know what is going to come to your way in the form of audio. So this is what exactly you need to be familiarized. Predict possible answer. Exactly. Look forward for the preposition. Is there a blank after at? So let's suppose we've got this sentence after it's written at and then there's a blank. So the function is going to be held at. To be held at might talk about place or might talk about either time. What exactly is it? Now, do you have a confusion in it? Have a look at the instruction in this time. If your instruction says that you can add numbers in your answers, then in that case, time can be the highly likely answer of yours. But in case the numbers are not allowed, then of course, that's pretty much very obvious that the place is going to be the answer. This is something that you guys can take help at the time when you're dealing with these kind of questions. Once you understand the question, everything becomes a butter smooth process for you. Understanding the keywords. Always look for the proper nouns. Now, this is what my day. Many of the time, you might have heard me talking about proper nouns every time. And yes, that's where it's going to make your preparation smooth. Proper nouns are the only nouns that cannot be paraphrased. And because they cannot be paraphrased, that becomes very easy for you to understand how to deal with the answers and the questions at the same time. Follow the conversation. Look forward for the connections. Furthermore, adding to, now talking about following with it, these are the terms that stretches the conversation, that elaborates the conversation. Okay. I know part three is a disaster because you get to encounter 3 to 4 speakers at the same time. So yeah, that is something that I believe can be a bit of disaster for you. But yes, that's something that you can cure. That's not exactly cure. That is something that you can deal with at the time when you're already aware of what's coming in. Listen for the meaning, not individual words. Exactly. What exactly the entire sentence means? What are they looking for? Always remember. जब भी आप fill in the blanks question solve करते हो, once you write the answer to fill in the blanks, that answer doesn't remain an individual word. Once you write that answer and add it to a sentence, it becomes the part of the sentence. And the moment it became the part of the sentence, it will become complete in its own. So you also need to be very careful of whether you are writing the answers properly, grammatically correct or not. And yes, you are also going to lose your bank scores or your marks if you're going to get yourself wrong in any kind of singular or plural data or any kind of singular or plural words. Yes, that's going to be a disaster for you. So I hope I have already told you what not to do and what you can do instead making notes at the time when you're dealing with the question. Now, these are the strategies that can help you make less notes and move closer more to your answers accurately. I get it. You guys don't have to solve the question just for the sake of solving it, but you also have to solve it just to get the right answer at the same time. So it's really very important that you cater to the questions carefully so that you can get to the answers amazingly and in an effortless way. Okay? Let's see what's next. Again, talking about each and every step in detail. First of all, let's talk about predict before you listen. When I say prediction, I know I've given you a number of examples, but here's the real one. The conference begins at, see, told you. Before listening to the time, is the answer a time, a date, a number? What exactly? The prediction can be 9 a.m., 10:30. Your brain becomes ready to catch the answer. And once you get this preposition, so that is the reason grammar plays a crucial role. If you guys are very well versed with the grammatical topics, then definitely you will never face an issue to cater to any of the listening, reading, or writing questions, or maybe, or yes, speaking questions at the same time. So you won't face any problem. So you need to be a bit careful at the time when you're dealing with the listening part. Okay. So in step one, always look forward for the prediction and always make sure to underline the words which are near to the blank. Words which are near to the blank are always the catch. And definitely try it. I would just say try it and you're gonna get to know. Next, underline the keywords. Now how the keywords work. The hotel is located near the keyword is hotel, located, and near. So what are we exactly talking about? So if you might have heard, I've already said that look for the keyword. So what are we looking for? We are looking for an hotel. And what about the hotel? It's the location about the hotel, to which we already have a clue that it is near something. And that's what we are up to. So these three keywords are going to lead us to the correct answer. So you need to look and listen for accommodation. Accommodation is a synonym for hotel. Building is where you can find the near term might be related to. Close to is a synonym for near. Beside is the direction, which means the left side of certain kind of building. Opposite is just the other side of some certain kind of building. IELTS rarely use exact words. Yes. So they rarely use exact words. So if they're saying near, be ready for any of the locators, be ready for any of the location, vocabulary that you might need to encounter. So that's where you need to find it. Now, same goes not only for fill in the blank, but for MCQ. Look forward for what exactly you need to answer. Rest of the sentence is of no use to you. And yes, there are going to be times when when the audio will be going on, there are going to be times where rest of the parts might not be useful to you. So you need to learn. I know it's a lot of things at the same time, but yes, you've got to practice yourself. And through practice, you'll be able to do. And it's totally easy. to find and to figure it out. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Follow the signposting. Now, what is signposting? As I said, whenever you follow a sequence of conversation, there are some of the connectors that you tend to hear many of. Pay attention to addition. Additions means when you want to add on information. Whenever there's an add on in information, there's always a word that you're going to figure out. For example, also, furthermore, moreover, adding to, following this. Now, next. These are some of the words that kind of elaborate the conversation or stretches it. On the other hand, we've got the contrast. Contrast tends to flip your answer many of the times. It tends to flip the answer. And because of this, your answer changes. Now, this is the kind of thing which is very rare, but yeah, quite possible. Contrast words are but, however, although, even though, on the other hand, on the contrary, on the opposite side. So these are some of the words that will flip your answer. So be very careful at the time. Step 3. Again, the correction and the conclusion over here is what we are going to talk about. Actually, in fact, rather, it's the correction. Conclusion is finally and therefore. When you get to hear these words, you will be able to understand when the topic is starting and when the topic is actually concluding. Starting with is actually the start of the topic. Furthermore is the addition. Contradictory is the contradiction. Actually is a fact. And finally is the conclusion. Now from here, you will be able to understand when the conclusion is actually, when the conversation is actually starting and when exactly it is ending. That makes it much more easier for you to figure out what you're actually looking for. Now, the distracted trap. Now, this is something quite interesting that we've got. Moving on, we have got the audio. So let's suppose this is the audio. We initially planned to meet on Tuesday, but we've changed it to Thursday. Yes, this is what we call distracted. What candidates usually tend to do is because they are very much nervous, or I would say in a haphazard manner, they just rush for the accurate answer. And because of that, they tend to miss the distractor that's coming their way. According to them, this is the correct answer, which I would mean Tuesday is the correct answer. But no, it is Thursday. First, as I have already told you, be very well aware of the distractor or the contradictions. Can you see the contradiction here? Right now, I have told you that contradiction flips your answer. And that's what exactly happening over here. Tuesday won't be the answer. Thursday will be the answer. IELTS usually gives you the wrong answer first. Wait until the speaker finishes. As I told you, follow the signposting. Starting, firstly, addition, contradiction, if possible. Actually, the fact, conclusion, the end. The moment you heard the entire conversation is exactly the right time where you can take the decision of what exactly can be the term. Now here you can take your notes and decide which one's going to be the right answer. Now listen for meaning, not the words. What does this mean? The course is expensive. The fees are quite high. True, no identical words, different words, same meaning. And this is what we call paraphrasing. Yes. IELTS is filled with paraphrasing. So whenever you deal with these kind of content, remember that you're always looking for the meaning. Keywords are not meant for you. Keywords can only help you guide your way to a certain part of the audio. Keywords can never lead you to the correct answer until and unless you get to know what exactly they are trying to talk about. I get it. It has a lot of contribution of the accent at the same time. So yeah, accent familiarization matters the most. You will only be able to make no notes at the time when your accent familiarization is really good. Otherwise, you might need to take You might need to make some notes. Now, this particular video is for those people who are dealing with CBT. For those, it becomes very difficult for them to write some of the notes. So this is the reason they can take help of these. For pen paper, I would rather recommend to take notes because you already have the privilege of doing it. For CBT people, they don't. And switching from screen to paper and paper to screen is actually quite time taking. It might not seem easier. It might sound easier, but it's very difficult when it comes to the actual practical approach of it. So yes, I would recommend every one of you to take care of these particular strategies that I'm telling you and consider them and try to at least practice once. And you're going to see a major difference in your bank score. And that's all. So by with this, we have come to the end of our audio of our video. I'm so sorry. So basically, these are some of the strategies. If if I can just come up with a core, what is the core of it? The moment you get familiarized yourself with the accent, question, what are they exactly asking, and the meaning of the audio, is the exact point where you get to know what exactly the answer. Remember, do not listen for bulk and do not practice in bulk. You need quality. You need accuracy. You need to get most of your answers accurate. And this is how you can make it. Okay? Okay then. Bye-bye. Take care. Have a great day ahead. And make sure to practice at least once before you get towards to your examination. And all the very best to all the aspirants who are preparing for their IELTS examination. Bye-bye. Take care. We're going to see you in the next video.